it's Stanley. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I taught myself Chopin's Nocturne Opus 9 number 2. I was actually inspired to learn this piece because my dad sent me this text message that said, "Listen to this guy. He's a winner of Chopin competition in 1980. First Vietnamese ever won international competition." So I thought it would be a nice surprise if I sent my dad a video of me playing this piece. So that's kind of why I decided to learn it. With this song, I was actually able to start recording myself the second week that I started learning it, so I'll be able to show more of my process and the journey of how I got there. My goal for learning this piece is, of course, I want to record a video of myself to send it to my dad, but before I record the video, I want to be able to learn the piece to a point where I memorize it, and also I can play it with complete freedom, just get lost in the music and just really express the piece and its emotion and be able to tell its story. I apologize for any air conditioning sounds that you might hear in the background of the practice clips because it's just been so hot here in New York and torturous if I were to try to get through a practice with no air conditioning, so please excuse that sound. Alright, let's see how much I memorized today. I personally find it easier to memorize a piece as I'm learning it versus learning the full piece and then trying to memorize it after, just because when I do that, it feels like I'm learning the piece all over again. I don't know, is that just me? I'll usually just try to practice little sections either by phrase or by measure, and I'll have the music open but I won't look at it, or I'll try not to look at it. I'll glance every once in a while if I forget, but for the most part I try to practice from memory, and then eventually my brain can put it all together. If I learn the piece and I don't memorize it, I find that I just can't play it with complete freedom, which is essentially my goal of learning any piece. If I'm playing with the music, there's just some part of my brain that's either aware of the notes, or you just can't fully get into that state of mind where the music is just flowing for me. Yesterday, I went to the music studio for the first time in a long time, where I actually got to play on a real piano. I played this song as well as a few other ones, and I just couldn't help but feel a little bit sad because I realized that it feels like I'm being held back so much by practicing on an electric piano and not on a real piano. You would think that the two would translate easier, but it really doesn't. There's just so much more nuance in the way that you touch the keys of a real piano. I feel like I can create so many different tones and textures and dynamics and subtleties on my electric piano, but I can't do the same on a real piano yet, and there's nothing that I could do about it, because unless I'm touching and feeling a real piano every day and learning that type of touch, I can't really replicate it here. I don't know, I'm trying to remind myself that I'm making the best of a situation. This is the best that I could do right now with what I have, what I can afford. Hopefully one day I'll be able to practice on a regular piano more, but for now, I should be happy with this. So today I'm gonna focus on working in little sections, working on phrasing interpretation, but also playing that little section from memory so I can practice memorizing. I also want to play it a little bit faster than what I've been usually doing for the last week or so, just to hear a faster tempo on this piece and get my ear used to that. I think my natural instinct is to want to play it a little bit more slow so it has a calmer atmosphere to it. But for the majority of the recordings and stuff that I listen to, they're all played kind of closer to this recommended 132 for every eighth note, which is a fine tempo. It just, to me, it changes the mood of the piece. So I'm kind of at a conflict right now if I should bring myself and play to that speed, or do I follow more of my instinct and play it a little bit slower. But I want to get my ear used to at least the sound of hearing it fast, so maybe that's more of the issue. And yeah, so we'll work on that today. This part to me sounds like someone taking a breath before they speak or before they sing. Today is week 4 of working on this nocturne, and to be honest, I haven't been really practicing it consistently. I've been skipping a few days here and there due to time, or I just wanted to concentrate on other pieces. But I would say I'm probably like 90% there with learning it to memory, and I have a good grasp on the interpretation now. I just have to get in more repetitions to be able to really get it in my muscle memory and really feel very comfortable playing it. another day of practice on this song. Actually, I wasn't even able to practice at all yesterday, but you know what? It's fine. Sometimes I actually think it's good to go a day or two without practicing, especially if that means that you get to do other stuff with your life and experience things, because that also affects your music. The life experiences you have will reflect in your interpretation and what a song means to you. If you haven't lived much of your life or had a lot of experiences, the music becomes a reflection of that. You have no reference points for how something might make you feel emotionally, or if it reminds you, if a song reminds you of a certain situation that you've had, and all of that makes music that's more powerful, in my opinion, that makes it resonate with more people, or at least with yourself, which is the most important thing. Because if you can't make yourself feel a certain way by playing music, how will you make anyone else feel that way? Anyway, that was a tangent, but I'm practicing this piece again, and from the last time I was practicing it, I realized that my grace notes were very inconsistent, so I want to go back in and super magnify today on all of the grace note sections. I'm going to practice them super slow. I think the problem is I still don't have the weight in my muscle memory yet. I don't know the right weight, so when I'm increasing or decreasing the speed, sometimes the notes sound and sometimes they don't, so I need to go back, really focus on the weight of the grace notes, the rotation of my hands, my arms for them. And then I also noticed that I'm having trouble playing the whole piece as a whole in a smooth way. I find that the little sections that I created for myself, somehow they're not meshing together. I know what I want to say musically in each section, but then when I'm trying to join the sections together, it doesn't flow on an emotional level, if that makes any sense. To me, it just doesn't sound like I'm meshing those sections or that there's a smooth transition. So today I really want to focus on just maybe playing just the transitions and trying to wrap my mind around it. I think that's definitely been the most challenging part with this piece, because the notes I was able to learn fairly quickly. So it's not really about that. It's more about interpretation and expression and getting this piece to flow. It's officially week 5, and I know the piece well enough now that if I really wanted to, I could sit down and record myself and send it to my dad and be done with it, but I'm still not satisfied with where I'm at in terms of how much freedom I feel when I'm playing. I still am thinking about certain technical things while I'm playing, and it just doesn't feel like I'm completely letting go. And I just want to get to that point. I think it's just a matter of more repetitions and playing at different tempos until I can just get to that point where it feels like completely effortless and I'm really only thinking and concentrating about expression and emotions. Good morning. I tried to record myself the other day playing this piece and I failed. So I think I'm ready to film the video for my dad. I don't know, I'm just gonna give it a shot and see what happens. Probably more like a few shots, but let's see. I think I was impatient and I was really feeling the emotions of the piece that day, and I wanted to see if I could translate that to camera, but clearly I wasn't ready. Anytime I tried to get lost in the music and just listen and let the music flow, mistakes would happen. And it just goes to show that I haven't practiced enough to be able to get to that point and be able to play with that kind of freedom. It was kind of like my inner voice wasn't letting me fully perform the piece because it was trying to tell me that you're not ready yet. There's still so much more to learn. There's still so much more to explore. When I went back and re-looked at the footage, I did feel that way. There's so much more nuance in the phrasing and the interpretation that I could have improved on, and especially when I went back and listened to the footage without looking at myself, it became very apparent. There were just some sections that sounded so clunky. Like I would end a phrase with a loud forte or something, and that's just not what nice phrasing sounds like. It should sound like the way that we speak. When we talk, we usually ease into it and then it kind of fades away. It never really ends in this abrupt, loud sound unless maybe you're having an argument or something. But that's not really what this piece is about. Actually, yesterday when I was practicing, the piece really reminded me of a situation that happened in my life where I met someone and had such a strong and emotional connection to them, and it made me feel all of these emotions that I actually forgot what they felt like. It brought me so much joy and so much love, but the situation was so complicated, and also we live in different countries, so there was just no way that it would have worked. And so I tried to enjoy as much as I could the time that we had with each other. But as I was anticipating the end and I can see it approaching, I was just filled with so much anxiety and sadness. That's kind of how this piece makes me feel when I play it, because of the way that it's structured, where it begins really sweet and tender in the beginning, and then there's this build up, and then it ends in this dramatic emotional conclusion. I mean, even the way that Chopin notates it, it seems like he wants you to feel that way, because in the ending it starts as piano, and then it ends in this forte section played stretto, so you're increasing the tempo, and it just makes it seem like he really wants you to have that dramatic shift of emotions. And that's what this situation felt like to me. It began with so much happiness and joy and love, even though I knew it wasn't something that could be permanent, and I knew that there was this ending to it. It created that feeling of anxiety building up within me, and even though I was anticipating the end, when it came, it didn't matter. I still felt pain and sadness that it was over. I really love when I can relate a piece of music to something that's happened to me personally. Either a memory or even a place that I've been to, because it means that my interpretation will be more personal, and it also means that my performance will be more honest. I think it was meant to be that I couldn't perform the piece the other day because I hadn't related it back to something that happened in my life yet. And now that I have, it means my performance will be better in the end. You guys, I think I did it. I'm so happy. I haven't watched the video back yet, but I feel really good about that performance, and I hope it was the one to send to my dad. So if you guys aren't tired of listening to this song yet after such a long video, I am going to include the clip for you to watch. Hi. Did you get my video that I sent to you this morning? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I was having problems sending it, so I just wasn't even sure if it went through at all. But let me know if you're able to open it. My dad finally texted me back with what he thinks about the video, so let's see what he says. He said, "It's very good, Stanley, and you played it from memory too, and that is good. This will sound better on the real piano. Let work more on this when you're back home." Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was super long, and please let me know in the comments if I included too many practice clips or if that was kind of boring to watch. I have no idea, but it was just really hard to condense like 5 weeks of practice. But if you guys made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.